Have you ever wondered if the reality of your dreams could survive the weight of a Tuesday morning in a country that never truly stops to breathe? You've seen the cinematic montages, the neon lights of Shinjuku reflecting in puddles, the pink haze of cherry blossoms against a blue sky, and the quiet dignity of a mountain shrine. But as you stand in your tiny 1K apartment in the outskirts of Tokyo, the dream feels a lot more like the sharp, persistent beep of a microwave heating up a convenience store breakfast. Moving to Japan wasn't just a change of scenery. It was a total recalibration of your soul. You are no longer the protagonist of an adventure novel. You are a salaryman in a world of navy blue polyester and unwritten rules. Today, the alarm clock didn't just wake you up. It summoned you to the front lines of a cultural immersion that no textbook could have prepared you for. The humidity hits you the moment you slide open the window, a thick, heavy blanket that smells of salt, exhaust, and the faint, sweet scent of incense from the small altar tucked between the vending machines downstairs. You dress with a precision that borders on the ritualistic, ensuring your tie is perfectly straight and your suit jacket is free of even a single stray thread. In this city, your appearance is your first sentence in a conversation that hasn't even started yet. Walking to the station, you pass the Konbini, the local 7-Eleven, where the automatic door chimes a cheerful greeting that feels strangely personal in a city of 14 million people. You grab a cold black coffee, the Iced Boss can vibrating in your hand, and step into the stream of commuters flowing toward the ticket gates. The train station is a marvel of controlled chaos, a place where thousands of people move with the synchronized grace of a ballet troupe, yet no one ever touches. You find your spot on the platform, marked by a faded yellow line, and wait for the Yamanote line to arrive, with the surgical punctuality that Japan is famous for. When the doors hiss open, the crush begins. It's not a violent shove, but a polite, relentless pressure as bodies occupy every available cubic inch of space. You find yourself pressed against a salaryman who is fast asleep while standing up, his head nodding rhythmically with the movement of the train. You stare out the window as the city blurs by, a jagged skyline of steel and glass, punctuated by the green pops of neighborhood parks. You realize that in this moment, you are part of the the harmony of the group, a single cell in a massive breathing organism that moves toward the business districts of Minato and Chiyoda. Arriving at the office building, the transition from the humid chaos of the streets to the filtered, clinical air of the lobby is jarring. The building is a monolith of white marble and silent elevators. You reach your floor, and the doors slide open to reveal the Obeya, the Great Room. It is a vast, open-plan space where the silence is so heavy it feels physical. There are no cubicles, no private offices, just long rows of desks where everyone sits shoulder to shoulder. The only sounds are the rhythmic clicking of mechanical keyboards and the occasional hushed murmur of a telephone conversation. You walk to your desk, feeling the weight of a dozen peripheral gazes. You aren't just the new guy, you are the gaijin, the outsider, and every move you make is a data point for your colleagues to analyze. You offer a deep, 30-degree bow and a crisp "Ohayo gozaimasu," and for a split second, the tension in the room thaws as a chorus of voices returns the greeting. Your morning is consumed by the Meishi ritual. Exchanging business cards in Japan is not a casual networking move. It is a sacred exchange of identity. You hold your card with both hands, thumbs tucked in, presenting it so the text is readable to the recipient. You receive theirs with equal reverence, studying the kanji as if it were an ancient map. You never put the card in your pocket. That would be like putting the person in your pocket. Instead, you lay it carefully on the desk in front of you, a physical reminder of the hierarchy you are now a part of. Your supervisor, Sato-san, sits at the head of the row, his desk slightly larger, his presence an anchor for the team. He doesn't give orders, he gives guidance, a subtle series of suggestions that you must learn to interpret. Communication here is not about what is said, but what is read in the air, the kuki wo yomu. You spend hours trying to decipher the nuances of a sigh, or the specific way a colleague tilts their head during a spreadsheet review. By the time lunch rolls around, your brain is vibrating with the effort of constant cultural translation. You decide to escape the office, stepping back out into the Tokyo heat to find a small Tachigui ramen shop tucked under the railway tracks. Here, you stand at a narrow wooden counter, shoulder to shoulder with construction workers and executives, slurping noodles in a frantic 5-minute ritual of sustenance. The steam from the broth fogs up your glasses, and for a moment, the world disappears. There is a strange comfort in the anonymity of the city, the way you can be surrounded by people and yet completely alone with your thoughts. You watch the chef, a man who has likely made the same 3 types of ramen for 40 years, his movements a blur of efficiency. You realize that Japan is a country built on the mastery of the small, the perfect noodle, the perfect bow, the perfect line of code. The afternoon shift is a test of endurance. In a Japanese office, work is not about finishing your tasks and going home. It is about gambaru, to persevere, to do your best until the very end. The Hanko culture adds another layer of complexity. Every document, every requisition, every minor change must be stamped with a personal seal by at least 3 different managers. You watch as a simple proposal makes its way up the chain, a slow, methodical dance of approvals that ensures no single person is responsible for a failure, but the entire group is responsible for the success. You find yourself caught in the nemawashi, the informal process of laying the groundwork for a decision. You spend hours in the break room, ostensibly drinking green tea, but actually gauging the opinions of your coworkers, making sure everyone is on board before the formal meeting even begins. It's exhausting, but there is a profound sense of security in it. You are never truly alone in your mistakes. As the clock strikes 6, the atmosphere in the office shifts, but nobody moves. In London or New York, this would be the sound of bags zipping and chairs rolling back. In Tokyo, it is the time when the real work begins. The lights dim slightly and the caffeine-fueled focus intensifies. You stay because everyone else stays. You stay because to leave first would be to signal that your time is more valuable than the group's effort. You dive back into your project, a market analysis for a new tech rollout, and find yourself losing track of time. The windows of the office become mirrors, reflecting the glowing grid of the city outside. You see the Tokyo Tower in the distance, a brilliant orange skeleton against the dark sky, and a sudden, sharp pang of homesickness hits you. It's not that you miss your old life, it's that you miss the ease of it. Here, everything requires effort. Every word must be conjugated correctly, every gesture must be measured, every social cue must be decoded. But as you look at the screen, you realize you've written 3 pages of analysis in Japanese without checking your dictionary once. The friction is where the growth happens. Eventually, Sato-san stands up and stretches. The spell is broken. "Otsukare-sama," he says, the universal acknowledgement of shared fatigue. But the day isn't over. It's just moving to a different venue. Nomikai, the drinking party, is the final stage of the Japanese workday. You follow your team to an izakaya, a labyrinthine pub where the floors are polished wood and the air is thick with the smell of charcoal-grilled chicken. Inside, the rigid hierarchy of the office begins to dissolve. Under the influence of highballs and draft beer, the honne, the true self, emerges from behind the tatemae, the public mask. Sato-san, usually so stern, tells a hilarious, self-deprecating story about his first business trip to Osaka. A colleague who hasn't spoken 2 words to you all day suddenly wants to know your favorite anime and whether you find Japanese bread too sweet. This is where the real bonds are forged. In the haze of the izakaya, you aren't a foreigner anymore. You're a teammate who survived the Tuesday grind. You talk about the absurdity of the Hanko system, the exhaustion of the commute, and the hidden beauty of the city's backstreets. You realize that the office isn't just the building with the white marble lobby. It's this collective experience of struggle and release. When you finally leave, the cool midnight air feels like a benediction. You walk toward the station, your footsteps echoing on the clean, quiet pavement. The neon signs are still buzzing, the vending machines are still glowing, and the city is still humming with an energy that never quite sleeps. You catch the last train, the final that everyone rushes for. The carriage is filled with people in various states of exhaustion, some sleeping, some staring at their phones, some just leaning against the doors. You find a seat and close your eyes, the rhythmic clack, clack of the tracks lulling you into a trance. You think about the question you asked yourself this morning. Can the dream survive the reality? As the train pulls into your station and you step out into the quiet suburban night, you realize the answer is yes, but it's a different kind of dream now. It's not a movie or a postcard. It's the feeling of belonging to something vast and intricate. It's the pride of navigating a world that was never designed for you and finding your place in it anyway. You walk the final blocks to your apartment, the moonlight reflecting off the polished hoods of the cars, and you realize that tomorrow, you'll do it all over again. And for the first time since you landed at Narita, you don't just feel like you're living in Japan. You feel like you're home. If you enjoyed our content, please give us a like, subscribe, and leave a comment. This little signal helps us know that we should keep delighting you with our content.